Hello everybody, my name is Sniping is Fun, and I welcome all of you back to the next official character on this Sniping is Fun's Smash Bros. 5 character speculation, with the third official character in this list, Rex and Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And you can include Mythra in there too if you really want, but it's mostly all about Rex anyway, so there you go. I've already talked about Shovel Knight. I've already talked about Paper Mario. Now we're going to talk about the main new character from the latest the latest game in the Xenoblade Chronicles series, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Switch, Rex. And like always, the last two characters in this entire series I'm going to be doing 3 categories per video. Why does the character make sense to be in Super Smash Bros.? What are moveset ideas they could potentially have? And what is their percentage chance of being, in Smash Bros.? So let's get that started with why does Rex with Pyra and Mythra make sense to be in Super Smash Bros. 5? Well, first and foremost, the original main character from this series, from the first game, Shulk, made it into Smash Bros. 4, and that was when the series was even less popular and less pushed than it was before. Sakurai liked Xenoblade Chronicles enough and Shulk enough to put Shulk into Smash Bros. 4. And that was back when the game had to be pushed by Operation Rainfall to even come outside Europe and Japan, and it became one of the Wii's most popular RPGs, one of the Wii's most popular games, and Shulk is already in the series. So we already have a Xenoblade Chronicles rep, and since then we've had 2 games in that series, Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U and 2 on the Switch. So it is still a franchise that's heavily pushed by Nintendo, heavily utilized by Nintendo, still gets frequent game releases like a Zelda and a Fire Emblem and a Pokemon and a Mario and whatnot. So it is a series that's gained enough popularity and it has been heavily pushed by Nintendo that it could easily deserve a second character. And it is a new IP from Nintendo, just like Splatoon, that, like I just basically mentioned before, they heavily push it, they heavily market it. It is one of the franchises they really utilize their new generation of creators in Nintendo, now in this case Microsoft, to heavily push a new franchise out for them, one of their new biggest RPGs that rival Fire Emblem and Pokemon and whatnot. And like I said, Shulk got in the first game. Shulk from the first game got in Smash Bros. 4, and we've had 2 games since then, so they heavily push it. It's heavily popular. And Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is one of the biggest games to have released so far on the Switch. It is probably alongside like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Splatoon 2, Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, is in the top 10 of the heavily pushed, most popular games by Nintendo. So it is one of the biggest games on the system that this new Smash Bros. Game is coming out on. And as I mentioned before, the franchise is getting heavily pushed by Nintendo, just like Splatoon is. And guess who's in Smash Bros. 5 right now? The Inklings from Splatoon. So if they're heavily pushing that, and they heavily pushed Xenoblade Chronicles enough in the first place when there was only 1 game to get Shulk, Rex is very likely. Rex is, at least makes sense to be put in with Pyra, with Mythra by himself, triple team, double team by himself. It makes sense for him to be in, because Xenoblade Chronicles is an ongoing series, and we're going to get more Xenoblade Chronicles. We'll get X2 probably eventually, a Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So the series is still going, and it's the biggest, newest entry in the series, and he's the main character. So there you go. It kind of makes sense to include Rex at this point, and why he makes sense to be in Smash Brothers at all at this point. Moveset ideas, the second category. I'm going to say his standard swinging of his sword would basically be his smash attacks. Think Shulk. Think what Shulk does without the Monado arts. Just swinging his sword with standard A attacks, smash attacks. That's basically what it's going to be. If he was like, oh, that's kind of a clone, he's too similar, but he swings his weapon differently, he does this different thing. People go off about sword users being too similar and stuff like that, but it's a freaking sword. It's kind of depends on how people swing it, but it's a weapon that you swing to hit opponents, like a hammer, like an axe, like a spear, like a lance, anything. You swing it to hit opponents. It doesn't matter what type of weapon it is. It's just that you swing it. So of course there's going to be similar swinging attacks. It doesn't make him a clone because he doesn't have the Monado. Rex doesn't have the Monado, so you can't do Monado arts or stuff like that. But his standard smash attacks, like I basically mentioned with Paper Mario gave the hammer to. The smash attacks are never a character in Smash Brothers, any of the Smash Brothers series. Like, they're really unique attacks. They're kind of basic and boring. So him just doing standard, side swinging sword things and up jump strikes and stuff like that, it's not going to hurt his character. It's not going to make his moveset boring. It's just how you basically see it. He basically just swings his sword a lot for his basic sword attacks, just like what Shulk does, and it's not going to hurt him making him too similar to Shulk. Where he's going to originate at is in his special attacks, where I think that's where he's going to do his various arts and his drives. Drives will be like Rex's version of the Monado arts. How Shulk in Smash Bros. 4 can do speed and all his different things. Rex uses the drive, so he's going to summon the various drives from the game and do a special sword swing attack that might do a status effect like lightning, a lightning strike, or a water strike, or some sort of elemental strike that goes along with whatever drive he's summoning at the time, which I think to make his moveset a little more interesting, you give him some of the drives from the other characters in the game too, not just the drives he gets. So I think that's where he's going to stand out, is the various arts and drives, because his form of arts are the drives. His form of the Monado stuff is the drives. So I think that's what would differentiate him. Standard swinging attacks of the sword for his smash attacks, which would make him like Shulk, but to differentiate the special attacks from the Monado arts would be his drive arts. Basically the arts he does that are based on drives. Different summons that you can get for your drives for your weapon. And that's basically where his special attacks are going to go. It's like a thunder strike or a water strike or some sort of elemental strike, and then maybe you'll see the summon, like the drive there with him as he's summoning the attack and stuff like that. So he's summoning him at his side when he's doing that elemental attack strike. And his final smash, it has to, if anything, it's going to have to include Pyra and Mythra at some point. I haven't gotten super far in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 yet, so I don't know exactly what ultimate attacks Rex gets and what different things he can do with Mythra or Pyra or both or whatever. So pick like his major ultimate attack he does with one of them, if not both. Have them summon him to his side, and he just does an ultimate strike, striking everyone on the stage with whatever this attack is, because I'm not super far in the game just yet. I'm just basically I'm a ways into it, but not super far. But have him summon Pyra and Mythra to his side, so it's like he summons the basic generic other drives for his special attacks, but he's going to summon Pyra and summon Mythra, or one or both, whatever, for a Final Smash. And you could even do a version of it like what Ryu does. Ryu has 2 different Final Smashes, Smash Bros. 4. So you could have basically Rex have a summon for Pyra as one Final Smash and Mythra for another, and then maybe if you want to do 3 Final Smashes, he summons both of them. I don't really know, but he summons them for some sort of super ultimate attack that just engulfs the stage, and some sort of elemental strike that just hurts everyone, maybe knocks them off the stage, so on and so forth. Is it kind of basic? Is it kind of samey to like some other characters? Yes, but the drives will make him different. The drives will make him unique. And the standard swinging attacks won't make his moveset any generic than like Link swinging a sword, or Shulk, or Marth, or anyone, Cloud. So there you go. In his final smash, he'd have to summon Pyra, have to summon Mythra. They're 2 major main characters in the series, in this game, in this series, just like he is. So if he's in there, he has to have one, if not both of them, show up somewhere in his moveset, and the final smash makes the most sense for it. So that's the second one. Now, percentage chance of him being in, and I think some people would probably argue with this opinion with me. Some people would probably disagree with me. Some people would probably be like, no, that you're being too fanboyish or whatever. But I'm putting him at 100%. I think it's super very likely we're going to see Rex or someone from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in this game. It's almost practically guaranteed. And some people say, no, then that doesn't make any sense. Why would it be guaranteed? It's a heavily pushed franchise by Nintendo. Inklings got in, and Splatoon is another one from them. This is the new entry in the series, one of the more popular games in the series, and he's the main character from it. Put 2 and 2 together, people. I'm not trying to sound like a fanboy here or a big fan of the series, which I am, but I look at common sense and look at what's heavily pushed and what's relevant and recent and heavily pushed by Nintendo and whatnot. I don't just look at popularity and demand, because some of you out there do kind of do that. And I'm not saying for wish lists that doesn't make sense, but you have to look at the larger picture and look at what the situation, what it looks like when you see Smash Bros. Games getting made, and what Sakurai, what kind of formula or sort of strategy or how the rosters turn out, basically, and kind of see what characters he picks. He picks a lot of newer characters that are relevant and recent and still heavily pushed and popular and whatnot too. So I'm not saying, I said this with the Shovel Knight one, I'm not saying popularity and demand don't mean anything and they don't impact anything, but I never would put that over relevancy and recency, because then the roster just gets hobble-gobbled and hodgepodged with a lot of random characters from all over the freaking place, and it doesn't feel like the roster goes together. And I know people are going to disagree with me probably on giving Rex with Pyra and Mythra 100%. Some people will agree with me. They kind of get the concept and they probably predict him in there and whatnot. But I'm being realistic here, and I think he has a very, very, very good shot of being in this game. So that is my opinion on Rex with Pyra and Mythra for Super Smash Bros. 5. Put in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys agree or disagree with me giving them 100%? What percentage chance would you give them? What moveset ideas do you give them? Do you like the ones I kind of stated, even though it's kind of basic? And why do you think they make sense to be in the game? That's about it. And my name is Newcomer. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day, and see you when I do the next character in this series of Smash Bros. 5 character speculation. Bye.